Hello, welcome to Full Body Blast. My name is Matt Fells McDowell. Today we're going to do a little longer of a workout, maybe stretch things out a little bit because I want to go through the basics. We're going to get through everything that has to do with the upper body and the lower body, trying to really nail down the fundamental movements and how to get into those. But with that being said, we're going to get started the way I'm always going to get started, jogging in place. We're really going to get started by moving our legs, getting the blood from the lower body up through the rest of the body and out to the limbs. The calves are a great way to get blood moving. The muscles there are pumping the blood that's been sitting there all day right up to the heart and out through the rest of the body. Now, if you don't want to jog in place, just lifting up your calves, not your toes off the ground, but just moving, it's going to get pretty close to the same work. If you don't like moving in this way for some reason, that's okay. You can do calf raises. You can do just a light lunge or a light squat. Don't go too far down since we are warming up, raising the body temperature. It's all about the RAMP, ramping up in this warm-up section. So R for raise the body temperature, and then A for activating the muscles. So for those, I like to do things like squats, getting the quads going, getting the glutes going. Don't go too far to start. We're just activating the muscles. So when you get your squat going, hips go back, sink your body down between your legs and then back up. Now I might go into this a little more later, but let's go with a little wider of a stance. Try to keep your torso upright in that squat, down and up. Keeping your heels on the ground and really pressing your heels up. One thing I like to do in these squat and deadlift positions, which we're going to get to in just a second, have your thumbs on your ribs and fingertips on your hips. And that way, as you go down, you'll be able to feel with your hands whether you're moving your back. Are you curling down to get down, or really extending too much to get down into that squat position? Your body might not be able to feel it, but your hands are very sensitive. They will notice these changes. So ribs, hips, and then go into your squat. Try to get a little lower. See if there's a point where things start to shift. If you're very flexible and you can get down to a really low squat, there's going to be a point where it's going to bend. So that's as low as you go. We don't want to have your back bending in the squat. Let's move on to a different lower body movement, the hip hinge, also known as the deadlift, but we're not going to use weights, so it's more of a hip hinge. I like to start this one next to a wall with my butt facing the wall and just tap. Tap the wall, stand back up. Legs not perfectly straight. There's a nice soft knee where I'm tapping my hip, standing back up. As I get warmed up, my hamstrings are getting loose. I can go a little farther down, a little farther forward with my feet, a little farther down with my body. And again, thumbs on your ribs, fingers on your hips. Where's that wall? Tap it, stand back up. As you get warmed up, you'll be able to get a little lower, but you might find the point where you really can't get to the wall anymore and just stop there. Do a few more hip hinges, trying to reach your butt back, but if you don't get there, don't lose your balance, just stand back up. Okay, so that's activating. We got the lower body activated. Let's get some leg swings. RAM for mobilize, and then P will be progress to the movement. Leg swings, a great way to move the hips forward and back. Make sure you have enough space around you. You might not need as much space as I have here, but just make sure there's no chairs in front of you, no potted plants behind you, things like that. I like to have my wall or a chair on the side to help balance and really think about opening up the hips forward and back. And then other side, of course, we're using both legs today. Forward and back. I like to do about 7 or 8 leg swings forward and back, and then set yourself to the side, hands on a chair or on the wall, lean slightly forward for leg swings side to side. And you can see my dumbbells here. We will be using dumbbells today. For all these strength-based workouts, we're going to be using dumbbells. We will probably be using a mat. And then at some point I'll be introducing resistance bands, but not today. Today is all about the basics. So resistance bands are a little more, not advanced, but they're another piece of equipment which I recommend, and they're a good supplement to weights or a mat. So we got mobilized, we got activated. We'll progress in just a second, but let's get some upper body movement going. Swings, twists, going side to side. Keep the elbows in to start, and then move them out to the side. So we're moving our way up the body. We did the legs. We're doing the torso. We'll get into the chest, forward and back with the arms. Just do a little bit of a flex to feel the chest, a little bit of a pull back to get the back of the upper body going. Nice and slow. And then we'll go into arm circles, starting small, activating the shoulders, and then mobilizing those joints by opening up the circle, moving all the way around. Big circles, 1, 2, last one for 3, and then switch directions. Small circles, small circles. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. That's going to get your body ready to go. Big circles, 1, 2, feel those shoulders, 3, shake it out. Make sure you get some water and have some water nearby for the workout. So today I'm doing it nice and simple. Again, it's going to go a little longer. Usually I'm going to keep it within about 30 minutes. Today I am not giving myself a time limit. But we have 3 sets, 3 exercises in each set. We're going 2 times through, and I might change things up on the second set just to keep it interesting. Our first exercise, we're grabbing dumbbells. So for you at home, don't grab dumbbells. Just try to mimic the movement on this first demonstration, and then when we get into the timer, you'll hear the beep. Grab your weights. I have 5-pound weights here for my demonstration. I also have 10-pound weights. Use the weight that works best for you. 5-pound weights probably works best for many people. 10-pound weights if you're a bit stronger, up to 15 if you really have a bunch of different dumbbells at home. But really, it's okay if you don't use any weight at all if you're really not there yet. So don't worry about it. Your body will get used to it. You're starting in the hip hinge position for the bent over row. So, like I got started touching my hips to the wall, you can even do the exercise with your butt resting on the wall. It's more important to keep your back straight than to really hold that deadlift position for the bent over row. So, in the bent over row, dumbbells going right to the bottom of the ribs, nice and easy. When you're pulling, pull with your elbows back, finish with the shoulder at the end. So, as far over as I can go, start with the elbows, finish with the shoulders, and then back down. I'm going about to my knees. If you're really flexible and can keep your back straight, you can go past your knees, but if you can't get to your knees, I would suggest having your butt on the wall and just using that to help you get lower. That's okay for this set. Second exercise, you will need a wall, something to put your hands into, maybe a door frame if you don't have it. Hands on the wall, raising your calves up, and it's a wall sprinter. A little bit of ab work, a little bit of the obliques running across your body, those abs that run side to side. They help you do those twists, but they also help you stabilize when one leg is off the ground. So, wall sprinter. And then third exercise, and then you do, overhead press. So overhead press, I'm not going to hold my weights for this one, and I do need to go a little wider so I don't bang the ceiling up to the head. So I like to have my dumbbells right at my eye level, elbows slightly in front. This is called a packed shoulder, where that's nice and in place. Elbows slightly in front, but also out to the side. You'll find the place where it should be for you. It could be eye level, it might be a little lower, but try to keep shoulders engaged. You're not going all the way down, and really disengaging the shoulders by having your elbows touch your sides of your body. Keep it a little high, and then as you go overhead, right about here, you raise your shoulders up to get over to the top of the head. If you have shoulder mobility issues, it's okay to go a little forward as you go. We're really just working the upper shoulder. So do what works for you, hands slightly in front, and then over the head and back down. We're doing 40 seconds. It's a circuit weight training. 2 times through, 40 seconds. Grab your weights. We're starting with a bent over row. I'm gonna grab the weights after I start the timer. So you grab your weights, get your water. We're gonna do the bent over row in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Grab your weights. You have them in that bent over row. Holding that position. Weights going right to the bottom of your ribs. As the weights go down, you inhale. As they come up, you exhale. Inhale down, exhale up. You want to exhale as you bring the weights higher off the ground. That's going to help keep your abs engaged, and it's going to help let your body work its best when the weights are going up. Stand it back up, shake it out, 10 seconds rest. Put the weights down because we're going to wall sprinters, no weights needed. Hands on the wall, raise the calves, alternating, leg raise. As you go up and down, keep your abs engaged. And don't go too high because I don't want you to curl your back as you raise those knees up. So keep it going. As you get used to it, you can go a little faster. Keep those calves high. You'll feel it in those gastrocnemiuses, the calves. Pressing your hands in the wall. You hear the knock, that's 10 seconds left. Deep breaths as you go. Good. Shake it out, grab weights for overhead press. Right at your eyes. Ready? Here we go. Overhead, back down. And again, I'm raising my shoulders to get myself to the top and then bringing them down nice and smooth. From the side, overhead, back and down. When the weight is over your head and over your shoulders like this, it's imperative, very important, to pull your abs in just a little bit and use your core. It's going to stabilize your spine, and it's going to allow you to work the muscles and not hurt your back. Get a few more reps in. We're going to change the next exercise just a little bit. We did the bent over row, same bent over position, but this time we're going to our ears. It's a high row up to our ears. You're going to get the back of the shoulder and also some rotators. The external rotators are working to get yourself up to that top position. So elbows go wide and high and get that extra little twist right at the top. So this is the only set of this we're doing today, but it's a great exercise for posture, upper back, the trapezius muscle, and of course you're still in the hip hinge position, so the glutes are going to get worked. 5 pound might be too much, so no weight is going to be okay with this exercise. If you've never done that one before, no weight, that's okay. Wall sprinter, you can also do the mountain climber on the ground, much harder for the abs, but it's the same type of movement, a lot less intense for the calves, a lot more intense for the abs. So go slow, pressing your hands into the ground. Breathing through the nose, out through the mouth. Deep breaths. As you go, you're stabilizing your core, and it helps if you're not moving your back like you were not doing on the wall. Last exercise, overhead press. if you need to get a water break at any time during this workout, grab the water, come back, maybe pause the video if you really want to finish the set all the way through. Overhead press. We're keeping it nice and simple today. Not a lot of variations. I did that posterior deltoid exercise to change things up, but when we get into the upper body, lower body split, which will start next week, we'll get a little more specialized in the exercises we're doing. Get 5 more seconds in, that's 3 reps, 2, 3, good. Okay, put the weights down on the second set of exercises. I like to take it to the ground. So, when you set up your mat, you can have a yoga mat. If you're on carpet, you might not need one, but I would recommend one. So the way I set up is you're going to have the dumbbells over your head that you're going to use for these exercises. Make sure there's enough space to your side for your arms and also enough space over your head. So I'm only going to use the 10-pound weights. I'm moving these 5-pound weights out of the way. We've got 2 exercises with dumbbells and then 1 exercise where we won't use the dumbbells. So on our back, the weight is over my head, and we're going to do the first exercise to pick up the weights. It's called a pullover. So hands are grabbing the weights, elbows stay high, and I bring the weights over my shoulders. That's the pullover itself, and that's the exercise we're going to do. So before we really get into it, a couple technique pointers. When you're on your back holding dumbbells, it's important to pull the shoulder blades back and keep that flat. If your shoulder blades are not back and they're rounded, you'll be unstable and you'll be able to do this movement. If your shoulder blades are back and you try to do that, I'm not able to shift my weight very far from the side. Shoulder blades are back. I can't move side to side very much. If my shoulder blades are forward, suddenly I'm rolling around. So keep yourself safe. It's not just for rolling yourself around, it's actually to keep your shoulder blades healthy. There's a bunch of videos explaining why that is. So I won't go into it too much. Grab the weights, pull them over your head. The pullover, arms can stay straight. Don't go all the way to the ground and then bring it back up. If you bend your elbows slightly, you can do all the way to the ground for a little bit farther, touching the ground and then pulling it back up. The ending point is dumbbells right over your shoulders. So 40 seconds there, 10 seconds to rest, and then you're back up for chest press. So again, keep your shoulder blades back, dumbbells go down to the side, elbows will be touching the ground for just a second. Don't bang your elbows on the ground, just lightly touch, and then back up. So, the top-down version, top-down view, I'm right here. I'm not too low with my elbow, I'm not too high with my elbow, keeping it nice and tight, about 45 degrees. Whatever works for you, but it's not too close, it's not too high. That's going to get the chest the most. Third exercise, put the dumbbells down for a second because we're going into a bridge. The glute bridge, hands up to the side, squeezing the glutes at the top, tapping it down, going right back up. For this first set, you can do 2 legs together. If you're really wanting to go farther, you can go into some 1-leg variations. Alternate every 2 if you do that. So 2 on one side, 2 on the other side, switch it back and forth. All right, same thing, 40 seconds, 2 times through. I probably won't change it up too much. We will see. I've got my timer going, and we will go in 3 seconds. So get on the mat, make sure you get your water. 3, 2, 1, pullovers for 40 seconds. I'm catching up. Dumbbells over the shoulders, bringing it back, and then back over the head. As I was saying, if your arms are straight, don't go all the way to the ground. You'll definitely reach your end point before you touch the ground. But if you do a slight bend, you can go all the way to the ground. It's a little easier as well. You can really modulate the weight. It's a lot heavier if it's farther away from your body with a straight arm, and it's a lot easier if it's close to your body with a bent arm. So this chest press might be too easy. Go ahead and try it with dumbbells in a line, right down to the elbows to the ground, and then back up. If you're feeling like that's too easy, turn your dumbbells so they're parallel with each other and go out to the side. This is the chest fly. Again, the elbows touch the ground and come back up. Don't go with dumbbells to the ground. Shoulder blades must stay back. 10 more seconds. If you have very heavy weights, I would not do the chest fly. I would keep it close to your body. There we go. Bridges, 40 seconds. Feet together, pressing up, just do a tap down, get back up. And if you're doing one leg, it's up, tap, up, down, switch. Up, tap, up, down, and switch. Keep it going. Again, we're only doing 2 sets. And then we'll finish up standing up after this next 3 exercises. Finish those bridges. And down, grab the weights. It's the last one. For pullovers, let's switch it up by alternating. One side goes down, and then you alternate. So one side's really getting a stretch, and you're getting the obliques to really hold in place as you alternate the weights. Hold your core in place. Deep breaths. Alternating pullovers. This exercise hits the latissimus dorsi. It's that same muscle that was doing the row from the first part of the class. Chest press. If you want, you can do chest press or chest fly. If you're really feeling it, you can alternate. So one side goes down and back up, other side down and back up. Holding the weight in place, really working those obliques to stabilize your body. Deep inhale, deep exhale. And then 10 more seconds, finish up with 2 dumbbells together just to burn it out. Last chest exercise of the day. Dumbbells down. Last set of bridges. Ready? Let's do 3 on each leg if you're doing single leg bridges. 3 on each side and then switch. Just a quick tap and then switch. Make sure your hips are staying even at the top, still parallel with the ground. Foot is flat on the ground for these bridges. Hitting the glutes. The back is all working just to hold yourself in place. And down, give yourself a little rest, get some water. You can put away the mat. Our last set of exercises, we've got 2 upper body, 1 lower body exercise. Everyone's favorite, the goblet squat. Just the basic goblet squat today. It's called the goblet squat because you're holding the dumbbell like it's a goblet. Hold the top to your chest, shoulders stay back. And then as you go down, the weight that's hanging down is going to come off your chest, but the top part stays on your chest. So I'm leaning slightly forward just because that's how the body moves. And you're able to go down and up. For a squat, heels stay on the ground, about shoulder width apart. But I want to make a quick note here. Depending on your body anatomy, you might want to go wider or narrower. For me, I go a little wider than my shoulders, and that is because when I'm going down, I'm able to keep my upper body more upright. So if my feet are closer together and I try to go down to parallel with my thighs, you can see my back angle is way farther down, especially compared to my shin angle, which is much higher. Now if I go out to the side, so I'm pretty wide here, not only is my back more upright, but my shins and back are parallel at the bottom. And that's the ideal squat, is the thighs are parallel with the ground and the upper body and calves are parallel as well. So find the stance that lets you do that. It really depends on your femur, that's your thigh, and your calf length. So longer femurs, wider stance. Longer calves, you can do a shorter stance, and you're probably really good at squats. So we'll do dumbbell, 1 dumbbell just for today. Our 2 other exercises, bicep curls and tricep extension. Quick notes on the triceps and the biceps. Biceps, they seem pretty easy, but for posture, shoulders are back. I'm going to do underhand, keep the elbows in, going down and up. But it is important to keep your shoulder blades back. For those biceps do run through the shoulders, and that's going to keep everything nice and safe. Overhead press. Again, I'm doing this a little wider. Dumbbells at the top. Keep the dumbbells slightly separated, and then as they come down, try to keep your elbows in line and forward, and then back over your head. Since the weight is over your head, use your abs pulling that gut just a little bit. From overhead, back behind your head, and back up. So, 40 seconds, 2 times through, starting with the goblet squat, finishing off with some arms just to get everything hit a little bit today. And then we'll finish off with some stretches. All right, last set of exercises. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Squats. Nice open space here. Pressing off my heels. Again, you don't have to do the dumbbell if you're just getting started in your fitness journey. Practice with your thumbs and fingers on your ribs. Thumbs on your ribs, fingers on your hips. And practice keeping your abs engaged, going all the way down and up. If you're a little more experienced, or maybe you're watching the video again, try with the dumbbell, goblet squats. Weights down, 2 weights up. For bicep curls. Shoulder blades back, nice and tall. When you're in that upright posture, I know we're using the biceps, but it's really important to think about the other things that are moving and keeping those in a good posture. So, shoulders back, chin tucked in, and do your bicep curls from perfect posture. If you want a little extra move, one thing I like to do is have a little bit of a cheat forward and then back down slowly. So I go forward, all the way up and down. This is working the bottom range of those bicep curls just a little harder. Triceps, I'm gonna switch to the 5-pound weights for this one. 5-pound weights over my head. Dumbbells stay separated back and then over the head. And you might be able to see what I'm doing. I'm gonna get down a little lower here. Dumbbells are parallel at the top, and then as I get to the bottom, they're still parallel. But then as I go back up, you can twist. So they're in a line at the top. And you get a little extra twist through there that helps get kind of the natural motion of the tricep extending out and back. So get those last few reps in. And rest. If you want to go a little heavier but you don't have an extra weight, or you don't have a heavier weight and you want to use 2 weights, dumbbells resting on the shoulders, keep your elbows high. This is going to put more weight through your spine, through your body. But it's still symmetrical. Very close to a front squat position here with the elbows high. Keeping the elbows high helps keep your back straight at the bottom. Deep breaths. Go a little faster for the last 10 seconds. No stops all the way to the end. Last squats of the day. Get one more. Okay, bicep curls. No changes, but if you want to try a different version, good posture, overhand grip, the reverse bicep curl. It's going to hit the brachioradialis, which is in the arms, upper arms. No, this is the forearms. This is the upper arms. I know my anatomy. It's also really good for the wrists. If you are typing a lot and you need to be in this position, it's important to strengthen this position with a bicep curl. So it's a good option. It doesn't hit the biceps and the upper arm as much, but it is still a very functional exercise. Last exercise, triceps, and we'll finish off with some stretches. Arms over the head. Keep the elbows in front. Squeeze at the top. Again, my shoulders are high. You might be able to tell, or not, but my shoulder blades aren't resting down. They're pretty up. That's opening up my shoulder girdle to get my weight, get my hands over my head in a comfortable position. Still using my abs, still in a good posture. Deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Put the weights down. We have some time for some stretches. We finished with the triceps, so I'll start the stretches with the triceps. Nice and easy. One thing I like to do for my tricep stretch is actually push from underneath, just because if I'm starting to go overhead with my arm, some people aren't that flexible and they start to move your head. You still want to be in a good posture even when you're stretching. So find a good posture and then go into the stretch from there. So shoulders are back, chin slightly tucked. Try to get your arm up and push and stretch from there. Deep breaths. Go ahead and switch now. I'll talk about the timing of stretches in just a second, but we're getting the posture in, getting the triceps going. Let's do a quadriceps stretch. Hit the other side of the body. And I'll talk about timing. So everyone's seen this quadriceps stretch. I don't think I need to talk about it too much. Have something for stability and then holding on to your ankle. And then it's good to have your knee as close to straight up and down as you can to help get into this stretch. And then a towel can help around your ankle as well if you can't reach. I know it takes a while to sometimes get flexible enough to even do the stretches, so grab a little towel, put it around your ankle, and then pull it up from there. Go ahead and switch sides, and I'll talk about my 15 seconds. I don't really count 15 seconds myself. I do about 5 deep breaths, at least 5 deep breaths, because that's going to be about 15 seconds, and you don't need to be watching the clock. Just thinking about your breath will get you there. In through the nose, out through the mouth, and just count to 5. 5 deep breaths. Good. So we hit quadriceps. Let's hit the hamstrings next. The squats, they hit the quadriceps, the hamstrings, and the glutes, so we're going to make sure to hit all of those today. Again, I'm going over the stretches a little longer. In the 30-minute workouts, I might have to cut a few things out, so these are the stretches you can do if you really need to. If you feel like I need to hit this one stretch, Matt didn't get it today, I'm going to do it on my own. So hamstring stretch, it's pretty easy, one leg out. Keep the hips going back to get into that stretch. I like to have a slight bend in my knee. Hand is here for stability, or hands on your thigh. It's pretty easy to get into. You can always have your leg up on a chair or something, but you can get a decent stretch just in place here. Good. We hit the shoulders today, so let's do the arm across stretch. And I'll talk again about those 15 seconds. Why do we do 15 seconds? Well, there's a little sensory, it's called a Golgi tendon organ within the muscle, and it senses the stretch. So as you hold a stretch, a muscle is in its stretch position, it's sensing that it's stretched. I mean, you can feel it, that it's being stretched. And then after 15 seconds, this Golgi tendon organ sends a signal to the spine saying, hey, this is kind of too much. We need to relax this muscle. Otherwise it might break. But we're not going to break it, just holding it in place. It's a light stretch. If you did a very hard stretch, you might get a muscle strain, but we're not going to get there. Just a light stretch is totally fine for you. Unless you're injured. Don't stretch if you're injured. So, continuing my story, we're going to do the calf stretch, hands on the wall, 1 foot back, and then sink your hips down to really get into that stretch in the back of the calf. So it sends a signal, Golgi tendon organ sending the signal to the muscle, from the muscle to the spine saying relax, and that suddenly triggers, and you may even feel this happen, a big relaxation of the muscle where it opens things up. The muscle wants to stay in its position, especially after workout. It's called hypertonic. It's holding together, and it doesn't realize that it's holding together. So you stretch it. Eventually, it gets that sensation that, hey, I need to relax, and it lets go. And you get a nice lengthened muscle, a nice relaxed muscle. And that's why we stretch. At least 15 seconds. That's 5 deep breaths. If you've done these stretches before, you can do more than 15 seconds. So 10 deep breaths for 30 seconds. I wouldn't go more than a minute, but if you really feel like you need to stretch this one area, say your chest is tight, you can hold it for a little longer. If you're just getting started, this is the first time you're doing a chest stretch, don't go for the full minute this time. Let your body get used to the stretch, just like you would get used to a workout. So for a chest stretch, elbow is high on the wall, looking at the wall, and then turn your body out. So elbow is above my shoulder, facing the wall, really close to the wall, really my chest is on the wall, and then turning out and away, and that's getting the chest. The higher you go, the lower you're going to get on your chest. Make sure to hit both sides. Up on the wall, turn your body out, deep breaths as you hold the stretch. This is another good one to really get into the right posture with the shoulders back, head in a good position, and then get into the stretch. It's all part of this upper neck, shoulder continuum. All right, so we hit almost everything. I have 2 stretches left that are going to be on the mat. So we'll start for our glutes. Heel on your knee, pull it to your chest, cross it over the center. I'm going to show this a couple more ways. So you can see my foot goes onto my knee, pulling it to my chest, cross it over the center, and I'm going to hug my shin. You're feeling that right through the glute. That's the back of the hip, the big butt. Stretch the butt. 5 deep breaths at least, and then switch sides when you're ready. So heel on the knee, pull it to the chest, cross it over the center. 5 deep breaths. Let your body relax when you're in this stretch position. It's an underrated aspect to let your body, to let your mind relax, because it'll really help your recovery process if you are relaxed. Last stretch of the day, we're going into child's pose, which is on your knees, legs out to the side. You can be in line with your mat. I'm just showing from a little different angle so you can see what I'm doing. Arms are over my head between my arms, and then to get into the stretch, I'm walking my hands to one side, and I'm pulling my body towards this shoulder. And it's a back stretch for your latissimus dorsi. We hit it in those bent over rows and also the pullovers. And you'll feel the stretch right underneath your armpit, right underneath your shoulder blade. And if you get it just right, you might feel it all the way down to your hip. That's how big the latissimus dorsi is. It connects from your shoulder all the way down to your hip. At least parts of it do. So, get that child's pose position, walk your hands to the side, push your shoulder towards that open side. Hand pushing against the ground to get that resistance. Deep breaths. Again, 15 seconds. I think that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the workout today. And I hope to see you all next week. We'll start an upper body, lower body split. So 1 week we'll be doing upper body, the next week we'll be doing lower body. And we'll keep it like that for a little bit. So I hope you all enjoyed. Again, my name is Matt Fells McDowell. Take care.